Hello, this is Eric Gordon, Superintendent CEO of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. A crucial part of CMSD's Excellence for All school reopening plan is the important decision about which reopening scenario we should use as we return to school this fall. That critical decision requires us to consider our ability to maintain the health, safety, and well-being of our scholars, families, and educators, our ability to provide an excellent and equitable learning and teaching environment for our scholars and their educators, and our ability to support our scholars, educators, and families in that learning environment. After careful consideration of these three decision points, the Cleveland Board of Education and I have determined that we will need to operate our schools in a fully remote learning environment for the first 9 weeks of this school year. So how did we come to that decision? First, we considered our ability to maintain the health, safety, and well-being of our scholars, families, and educators. For several weeks, we have monitored Ohio's public health advisory system. This system rates each county in Ohio based upon the potential risk for spreading the virus. Cuyahoga County is currently rated level 3, or red. This means there is very high exposure and spread of COVID-19 in our community, and we are advised to limit activities as much as possible and required to wear masks while out of our homes. We then looked at the number of confirmed cases for the city of Cleveland over the past 21 days. This data shows us that the number of confirmed cases is rapidly increasing, from 2,400 cases on July 1st to over 3,700 on July 21st. This tells us the level of risk to the health, safety, and well-being of our scholars, families, and educators is high, even with very strict health and safety protocols in place in our schools. Next, we considered our ability to provide an excellent and equitable learning and teaching environment for our scholars and their educators. While the best learning environment is in the classroom, we've already distributed over 16,000 devices and nearly 10,000 hotspots to get our students connected. We've also invested in a new learning management system for students and teachers to access, whether we use a hybrid or a remote learning environment. And we are investing in professional development and training to help students and teachers work effectively in this more remote environment. So while daily in-person learning is our goal, in any case we must be prepared to implement some form of remote learning, whether that would be 2 to 3 days per week or whether that be fully virtual learning. Finally, we considered our ability to support our scholars, educators, and families in that learning environment. This included reviewing surveys from our parents and caregivers and our educators. Our surveys told us that there was extreme concern from a large number of families and educators about returning to school for the first quarter. In fact, over 2/3 of our parents said they were not at all comfortable or only slightly comfortable with sending their children back to school, while only 14% said they were quite or extremely comfortable doing so. Our faculty felt the same way, with 62% stating they were not at all or only slightly comfortable returning to school, and only 16% saying they were quite or extremely comfortable doing so. These three factors, the high risk for COVID-19 exposure and spread, the strong concern from parents and educators about feeling safe and comfortable at school, and the realization that even if we did return in a hybrid environment, we would be required to implement some form of remote learning, informed our decision to implement our fully remote learning environment for the first quarter. So what should students and families expect in this remote learning environment? In general, students can expect to complete their classwork using a district-wide remote learning platform, which will offer both synchronous learning, where most students attend a virtual class together at the same time, for example, and asynchronous learning, where, for example, students complete their assignments, projects, and small group work on their own schedule. Students can expect to do things like access digital textbooks, engage in digital labs, participate in virtual field trips, and use online manipulative materials. Students should also expect to complete their quizzes, tests, and other assessments online, and students and parents will be able to monitor grades and progress regularly through the learning platform. Students will still interact with their teachers through the virtual classes and through more individualized support as needed. Students with disabilities, English language learners, and other students needing additional services and supports will receive these through the learning platform and additional virtual learning tools designed specifically to support their needs. To prepare for this, the district has modified the first quarter schedule. The first 2 weeks of this school year will be dedicated to training for our faculty and staff to support them in learning to use these new tools and teaching methods. During the third week of the quarter, August 31st to September 4th for most schools, our teachers and other educators will be working directly with our families to develop an education care plan that ensures students have the tools they need in order to begin remote learning instruction. Finally, remote learning instruction will formally begin. For most students and schools, this instruction will begin on Tuesday, September 8th. Please anticipate more information specific to your child's school schedule coming soon directly from your school. I want to emphasize that this is the learning plan for the first 9 weeks of school. None of us has been through anything like this pandemic in our lifetime. We know that we will need to continue to adjust, adapt, and improve over time, and it is our intention to continue to seek your input and feedback throughout the quarter so that we can make any necessary adjustments to our students' learning plans before beginning second quarter. We also know we will have to continue to monitor public health and will be prepared to begin transitioning to more in-person learning experiences as soon as it is safe and practical to do so. I will continue to update our entire school community regularly to keep you informed of any adjustments or adaptations of our plans and to make certain you know the latest public health information. Your schools and teachers will also soon be in touch to help you prepare for this fall and will remain in regular contact with you throughout the first quarter. And as always, please call your child's school directly if you need any services or supports you feel you're not receiving. Before I close, two of my colleagues, Mr. Kevin Payton, the president of our Principals Association, and Mrs. Sherry Obrinsky, the president of our Teachers Union, would like to share a brief message with you as well. Kevin and Sherry?
Colleagues and friends, hello. My name is Kevin Payton, president of the Cleveland Council of Administrators and Supervisors and proud principal of A.B. Hart School. As the circumstances surrounding the COVID-19 are steadily evolving, I will be the first to admit that the uncertainty of how everyday life will look in the near future is unsettling. Yet, as educators and leaders within our communities, we have been greatly tasked to inform, guide, and support our students, parents, staff, and communities as we shift to a new way of learning and school routines at the start of this school year. The shift being an addition of remote learning to our school schedules, perspective of traditional learning environments, and best practices. The very mention of remote learning for some is uncomfortable, while others gravitate towards the shift. Thus, our roles as principals and leading decision makers within our district must to be inform and educate our communities on the benefit and necessaries of remote learning at this time in our history. Why is remote learning an educational shift that desperately needs to be adopted within our Cleveland Metropolitan School District? Well, we just experienced why remote learning is important. The inequities within the communities in which we serve were left exposed as the coronavirus shocked the country and greatly impacted impoverished communities such as ours. Also, as Governor Mike DeWine shut down schools due to the outbreak of COVID-19 back in March, educators and administrators alike were scrambling to develop a plan to educate our scholars and adhere to the stay-at-home order. However, we cannot afford to scramble again. Our scholars cannot afford to lose more instructional hours. We need a plan. Remote learning is a major part of the plan and the most significant to the learning shift that we'll be implementing this school year. Providing varieties of support, training, tutorials, information, and compassion to our staff and families will be essential. We are the leaders and faces of our buildings, and it is imperative that we lead with knowledge, confidence, and empathy. Moreover, the benefits of remote learning will need to be very clearly outlined for our students, parents, and staff. Allow me to state a few. Remote learning allows students the autonomy and choice to select when they complete academic work during remote learning days. This provides students more flexibility than the typical fixed school schedule. Also, students will determine the learning environments or settings that is most suitable for their learning styles. Scholars who are kinesthetic learners may greatly benefit from the freedom to complete work and move around their preferred learning space. In addition to those benefits, scholars will simultaneously be developing technology and research skills that will be transferable later in life. With scholars developing skills and growing familiar with conducting research and technology. With these practices already in mind for many, we can be confident that our students and teachers are capable of shifting learning models and practices to remote learning. As the president of the CCS, I am proud and inspired by the way our district has risen to this challenge. The district has shown courage, flexibility, resilience, and empathy during this crisis, and it is a pleasure to serve our communities alongside you all. So let's continue to plan and work together and support one another along this educational and instructional shift. As Malcolm X once said, education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Stay safe and stay well. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sherry Obrensky, a social studies teacher at Jane Addams Business Career Center and president of the Cleveland Teachers Union. As teachers, there's nothing we want more than to have our students back in school, to see their faces, to greet them each day, and to spend our days together learning. But right now and for the foreseeable future, it just isn't safe for us to be together in school. That's why we need to start this school year with remote learning, with educators, students, and parents all working together to keep our kids learning and succeeding. The Cleveland Teachers Union is working very closely with the district to prepare our students for remote learning. Your teachers, paraprofessionals, sign language interpreters, counselors, nurses, psychologists, speech language pathologists, occupational and physical therapists, and all of the other educators who work with students are committed to working with you so that our children have the best possible remote learning experience. As we get closer to the start of our new school year, we will be reaching out to each of our students and families to prepare for our new beginning. While we are working hard to prepare for this school year, we hope that you will continue to encourage your children to read and watch our teachers on Channel 43 on our TV program, CMSD on CW43, every weekday morning at 9 or online whenever they want, and work to review and remember all of those important things they already learned. I know that it seems this pandemic will last forever, but history tells us that it won't. Our health professionals and scientists are working hard to figure this out and help us all get back to school, in person, learning face-to-face together again. Until then, please do your part to make this happen. Wear your mask, stay socially distanced at least 6 feet apart, wash your hands and use hand sanitizer frequently. Take care, CMSD. We miss you, but we'll see you soon. Be safe.
Thank you for continuing to work closely with us to make the best of this international crisis. Please, keep washing and sanitizing your hands. Wear your face mask and practice social distancing. It's what will make the difference in the long run. I hope that you and each of your loved ones remain safe, healthy, and well. Thank you.